it's impacted divorce and things of that nature. Because, you know, I saw something and somebody was saying somebody was talking to their grandfather or something and said, you know, how'd you stay with grandma so long? He said, I loved her. And he said, you never thought about anything else? He said, when we were growing up, we knew about the world a town away. Said, your grandmother was the most beautiful girl in 2 towns. He said, if I had this internet, we wouldn't have been together 2 years.
It's all the change of perspective.
It's all the perspective.
It certainly is. And now we're overloaded with information. There's a tremendous amount of it available to us, and you can get caught down in the weeds. And so you can never potentially want to leave your house if you have all of this at your fingertips. It certainly impacts society in general.
And you have the illusion that you're participating.
Correct.
You have the illusion that you're actually doing something, you know, because you're saying shares and prayers, you know.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, and you're right. What's the engagement? Is there observable behavior? Are you going out and are you having a real impact? Are you using your feet? Are you getting out of someplace? Otherwise, you're observing, and that's observing is not engaging. And so engaging, you have to make some observable behaviors. You need to go out there to be able to gain a real physical. There's got to be a physical change that's enacted at some point. Otherwise, it's observing.
I dealt with a family the other day, and the girl was sitting there and she wouldn't pay attention to anybody. She was on this headset playing this video game, middle of the day, and people were interacting, and it was almost like she had some special need or something, but it was her choice. She was in this game, and she wasn't interacting. And I said, last time I saw a rig like that, it was on Christopher Reeves. And she said, can't you say something positive? And I said, I guess your lifestyle makes it so that you don't wear out shoes that much. That's what I can say positive.
Well, you're trying to be real, and so the real thing is that how are our children? Are our children better than they were 20 years ago? Are they healthier? Are they happier? Now, when you see different cases, like in my time as an investigator with stalking, cyber stalking, and social media, and there's a negative connotation that you could place with social media because there are certain people that again are observing and not engaging, and they're confusing the two. And sometimes you're not living in the moment as well because you're watching what other people are watching. And how many of those people, when you look down the line, are just observing? And then they're slightly engaging, not really, and they're clicking a button, and everyone's just doing the same thing. So hopefully, besides just observing, that you're engaging. And the difficulties with social media is that any negativity is spread and it keeps a life of its own.
Yeah.
Children are fragile. Many times with investigations, the damage that's done is great. And their children are our best resource. And are they in a better place than we were when we were children? And I don't necessarily agree that they are.
I think they might live better, but I don't know that they are better.
Okay.
I think that we are, we live beyond 34 years old, and there's not, we don't die from, getting cut because of infections or cholera or anything like that. But I don't know that the quality is there. I have friends that are living long, empty lives. I don't know where the quality is. How long have you been in law enforcement?
Well, about 33 years in total.
How old are you?
I'll be 52 this month.
Oh, yeah. 52. So you crossed 50.
Yes.
I always go into a segue on 50. 50 was serious, wasn't it?
The Rubicon was crossed.
The Rubicon, that's what I call it. The Rubicon, 50.
There you go. Yes.
50 is serious. You can laugh at all the other ones, but 50, you sit yourself down and have a talk with yourself.
Well, we're told that it's we're at the midway point in life, and I'm thinking, well, that's if I'm going to be about 104.
Right.
So, maybe I'll be blessed with that long age.
Well,
or maybe
they
not.
say the person is already alive that will live to be 200 years old.
Really?
Through science, yeah. And I don't think, but I hope it's not me, because if I'm only a quarter of the way through grumpiness, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good.
Well, I'm pulling for you.
Yeah.
So I hope you just get better and you don't catch those colds anymore.
Can you imagine being 200 years old?
Wow. No.
Yelling at 80-year-olds,
That's
we're not meant to, we're not Galapagos turtles. We're not meant to live that long, and the rate that information comes, I feel overwhelmed already. I couldn't even imagine, but,
no.
But yeah, 50 is serious. What did somebody say? Your first 50 is for living, second 50 is for giving, or some variation of that,
It's neat. There is definitely a turning point where you, what you can give back, and hopefully that's what people look at. Everyone has something to give and to give back, and do they take the time to engage, whether it's at work, creating another one of yourself with your institutional knowledge, or at home with your family, and with your friends and sharing. Hopefully the people are.
But your ability to suffer fools gets greatly diminished.
Can be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's 2 strikes, you're out, and
it can. It's tough, and in certain professions that you need to be able to have long suffering patients sometimes.
Yeah.
And people's expectations of that are even greater now than they were before.
Yeah, I think the expectations of people's tolerances become unreasonable in many ways. They expect you to just stand there and take stuff, and you can only get poked in the chest so many times or pressed so many times. And I think that what happened after 50 or around MMA is I'm quicker to throw my hands up and wave bye-bye and just walk away. Sure.
Well, I think that's wisdom.
Yeah. So
wherever it is, I don't know if it's 50 or you're just getting wise somewhere along the line.
Well, 50 is a tangible thing where, there's stuff with 50 where it says, okay, we got to get rid of all of our T-shirts that have what we think are clever sayings on the front. We can't wear those anymore. We're getting ridiculous. We do not like crawling under things anymore. We may have to buy one of those clampy arm things,
right.
Because everything that drops rolls under the center of the car. And then before you get under anything after 50, you look around to see who's watching, because you're going to be cursing.
That just happened to me night before last. I had this little block that I had moved from my last office I was going to bring into my new office, and it had like honor, courage, commitment. It had some stings on it, just reminders, and I had dropped it, and it's square, and that thing still rolled underneath my car, and it was square. That's not supposed to happen, but it did. It did.
And you go down to get it, and you look around, see if anybody's watching. It's like, it's the sounds you used to make before if you were lifting a fridge to take it up to the second floor.
That's very true.
And when you crawl under something, you always wonder after 50, will I make it out?
It's true. And if someone will bother to come look for me if I don't.
Is this how they find me? Is this how it is?
Is this it? Yes.
Yeah. Pinned under the car getting my courage plaque.
That's funny.
How has, in your time doing it, did you start at Tradifin?
My law enforcement career really started in the Marines. So I had gone after high school at Upper Marine High School in '85. I graduated, went to Westchester, was there a semester. I ended up getting involved in criminal justice there in ROTC. Most of the Marines that I met impressed me in one way or another, so I gravitated toward the Marine Corps. And so I actually went into the United States Marine Corps to be a military policeman. So I made that jump from there, and I joined the Marines. I went down to Parris Island, South Carolina in February of '86, got out in April, and then went to my first training station, which was then Lackland Air Force Base out in San Antonio, Texas, and they had a police academy out there. Went through there, and it was there when I was out there is when the White House selection team came out, and I went a different direction.
How did you get selected to go to the White House?
Well, when we were out there, a White House selection team came out, and they gave a presentation to the 200 to 300 people that were there in training. And at that point, then after they explained about the long hours, and there's some glamour things, but long hours and a lot to the duty, they then said they selected, I think, about 130 people for some sort of first interviews. From that, then they brought back about 30 people from there. They did some backgrounds. They selected 7, and then of the 7, 5 got to my unit, and I was one of the 5. And it was specifically to do security work for Marine One. HMX-1 is the unit. It was based out of Quantico and with a subunit in Washington, D.C. And I was honored enough to be able to be selected. And then I was back in the summer of '86, went to Quantico. And during an extensive background investigation. So to be able to work around the president and carry a loaded weapon, you had to get something called a Yankee White clearance, top secret clearance. And so they had to do their background investigation. And once I got cleared, I was honored again to be able to go up to our subunit in Washington, D.C., where we performed some duties there. We did a lot of stuff for the reflecting pool, foreign heads of state, the arrivals and departures for the president and the vice president of the United States at Andrews Air Force Base to the Naval Observatory and the White House. So we did our jobs there, and then from there we would go on trips. So if the president went someplace for 3 hours, we'd be there for 3 to 4 days. If he went somewhere for 3 days, we'd be there for 2 weeks, like in Europe. And so it was exhilarating. I got the chance to work a couple years with President Reagan and the rest for Bush 41.
Okay. You've come full circle, though.
I have.
And life is a circle. People don't realize that because,
it is.
It's like they say, be careful, be nice on the way up, because when you come back down, those same people will be there maybe. And I think it's a good example of, I think everybody from this area, no matter what they do to leave, I think most come back. And I see the most, I've seen people that were so, I don't want to say stubborn sounds negative, but they were so stubborn that I just dealt with a guy who wanted to buy back his mother's house. And he rented a house on the same block, and the person wouldn't sell it, his mother's house, and he waited for them to die.
Wow.
And he said, they will die before me, and I will buy that house back. And he got the house back finally.
Wow.
He got the house back. That was his mission in life. And people see people in other parts of the country, when they move states or whatever. People in this area, if you move from Roxborough to Manayunk, you think you moved.
Sure.
Or if you move from Norristown to Bridgeport, or Bridgeport to Norristown,
right.
It's a big deal. I think it's a bigger deal when you move in a neighborhood, because people in neighborhoods typically don't move. It's a big deal if you move blocks in a neighborhood.
Sure.
But in a community, you can change townships or counties, and it doesn't matter as much. Before we go to after show, if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing?
Good question.
Every time I ask somebody in law enforcement or legal, what they'd be doing, you ask them that question, they look up like they've never really considered that.
No, I like the idea of teaching. I do it on a small scale. I did it within the police department. I taught legal updates through Montgomery County Community College, and specifically for the police department where I worked. So I think I enjoy passing along some knowledge that I gained, and be able to see other people, the light in their eyes get brighter over the idea of going into prospective fields, or in school, like a high school setting. Something different, completely different would be good. I like serving, so that would be a neat kind of thing to do.
And it's funny, because when people do say something, it's either they haven't thought of it, or it's something with teaching. Mm-hmm. Nobody ever says T-shirt stand at the beach, which is, that's why.
Well, you said about like kind of like as a job or work. So I might prefer a nice T-shirt stand down in Exuma. That would be a good start, because I'm kind of like a solar cell. When the light's on it,
okay,
you're happy.
Yeah,
that's me. So if I'm by the beach, if I could be in the water, then I'm happier and healthier. So the warmer the environment, the better. But absent that, it could be a combination of different things. But being able to give back some other way, and teaching would be an interesting way to do it. But doing it somewhere and combining that with someplace warm would be nice in the future.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming. We'll do a little bit of after show.
Okay.
See that one quick.
Yeah.